renovation update. I need to film it because honestly, this has probably been the most drastic big change. Oh, literally, what is going on? It's been a very, very, very busy week. I haven't slept much and I have not left these 3 rooms for an entire week. So I took the week off of my day job and I actually planned to use it as a holiday, but instead I cancelled my plans and decided to get on with the house. So what you're about to see has been 7 days work, pretty much flat out. There's been an immense amount of progress. It's probably the happiest I've been in a while, is because I can see the wood through the trees. Is that the correct saying? Not completely sure. I can't even think properly at the moment. Like, this has been 7 in the morning till 10 p.m. pretty much every single day, and a lot has happened. So I'm going to run round and show you everything. So I'll start off with the outside. As you can see, it's raining at the moment, so I don't really want to go outside, but I can show you from up here. I have done all the waterproofing for the extension roof. So as you can see, that's all the EPDM, that's all the soffit and fascia. I haven't put on the guttering yet, which I've actually gone for this really posh metal guttering, which was quite expensive, to be honest, but I think it's going to really make the extension because it's all you're going to see at the end from down in the garden looking back. It was definitely worth the money. If you're wondering how much all of this cost in terms of EPDM, which is, as you can see, it's that like rubbery material covering the flat roof. EPDM, soffit and fascia and guttering, and all the rubber corners, which as you can see, they're covering the edges of the skylights there. That was all £2,000. And if you're wondering how much these skylights were, they were 350 quid each, and I got 4 of them, which you're going to see around the corner. If you're wondering what these things on the roof are, I've just left them up there because, as you can see, I haven't finished it all yet. And if you're wondering why there's writing there, really annoyingly on the EPDM, the manufacturing writing is written on both sides of the EPDM, which is a little bit annoying, but the other side had way more writing on it, so that's why that writing's there. It's a little bit annoying, but nothing I can do about it. And if you're wondering what the size of these skylights are, that is 1.5 meters by, I believe, 80 centimeters. And yeah, 4 of them that size, letting tons of light in, which I'll actually go show you now quickly. And I can get onto this in a minute. So mind the mess. As I mentioned, it's quite hard finding the space for everything. And yeah, building sites aren't always this really tidy, clean place all the time. And in actual fact, all of this dirt and rubble, remember, all this rubble is going to be used for the hardcore, which is going to go below the concrete slab, which is going to be going into the kitchen here. Actually came in really handy when I was putting the skylights on the roof, because as you can see, they are 1.5 by 80 triple glazed skylights. They're quite heavy, and I am so glad I did not clear all the rubble and the soil, because as you can see there, I made steps for myself, and then I flattened out the rubble there and then put down some chipboard, and that allowed me to stand on it and actually pass it up onto the flat roof so easily, which actually is quite surprising because they weigh a lot. Something that I did not expect to be surprised by was, obviously, because we're having that type of roof construction and we've got 2.5 meter ceiling heights in the kitchen, you actually create these light wells, which that distance there is 0.5 meter from there to there. So in actual fact, it's not 2.5 meter ceiling height, it's 3 meters under the skylights. And then now imagine when that's all plasterboarded out, it's going to create these amazing like light wells. I know I'm the one who designed it, but that kind of surprised me because I didn't expect to have this feeling of ridiculous ceiling height. And look how cool it looks when the rain is pooling on it. Also, it's actually quite a good thing it's raining. This is the first rain we've had in London, like proper rain, for a while. And yeah, none of the roof is leaking, which is always a good sign, because if you don't remember, we got chippies in who, the chippies were then trying to be roofers, and that created that whole situation with the loft conversion. And then my brother and I spent literally hours and hours finishing the roof because we just said, look, just stop. We're going to do all the lead work, all the EPDM, all the rubber corners to put the skylights in. We're going to do the rest of it, the air track system, the lot. we'll just finish it. You guys just go, basically. And yeah, I'm so glad we chose to do that because yeah, we've had no leaks or anything, and the building inspector came round and was super happy with everything. Properly try and imagine what that is gonna look like when it's done. Obviously, I've still got a lot of rock wool because there's a lot of insulating still to be done, which if you've ever done home DIY or anything like that, insulating is horrible. Oh, I can also show you down here, I've started doing all the dam proofing, which as you can see is all of that, which is great fun. I love being in the basement. Now, this is by far the most exciting part, and you can't really see it from this angle, but when you start to go here, you can start to see what I've been up to for the last week. Now, the staircase arrived, and I would say it took 2 days to knock the ceiling down and then install the staircase. Now, if you're wondering what the hell goes into this, how do you get from the previous renovation update to this point? Well, it's weirdly pretty straightforward. Essentially, I had to cut through the joists, smash down the lava and plaster, get all of that out of here. Actually, I think, let me pull up my phone. I can tell you exactly how much this cost. So we got it from Stairbox, which I think is my favourite website to get staircases from. And when you're putting in exactly what you want, it auto does all the regulations, so you don't have to worry about the set requirements of each steps. The website deals with that for you. And in total, for all of what you can see here, and obviously all the spindles and the banisters are there, that was 640 quid was the lower part of the staircase, which is this bit you can see here, and the top part, which was the simple straight flight of stairs, that was 430 quid. Now, why is there a difference in price? Well, as you can see, that is literally just a straight flight of stairs, whereas this one, there's more wood and more effort. As you can see, it's got that corner. What we also did is we upgraded everything to thick wood, turned spindles and banisters. Now, you might not actually know, this is a spindle, this is a banister. Obviously, built the landing out here, and oh yeah, all the flooring. A lot has happened this week. So I'm gonna try and break it down room by room. This was that original wall. That's all been knocked down. I've smashed through the ceiling, as you can see there. And this is actually a lot more spacious than I originally thought. Like, if I bring down the light, I can use this to follow me. As you can see here, I created a little tool station because if you are getting into this world of DIY, building, whatever, you will lose everything. And a prime example of losing everything is when I did do a clear up, I realized how many saws I have. That's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 saws. And I only ever thought I had about 2. So yeah, also tape measures, they always disappear. Laser levels, chisels, the lot. Put it in one place, leave it there, and then you'll always remember where it is, because the amount of time you'll spend running around trying to figure out where you left something is insane. So yeah, obviously this is just a temporary banister before I put the nice one on. I didn't want to put the proper one on because we're going to be carrying up plasterboard the lot up into the loft, and it's just going to get damaged. So I've left that off for the time being, along with the spindles, and I'll be putting that in a later date. Now, if I go into what is going to be my bedroom, there's been a ton of progress in here. As you can see, actually it might be easier to see from this part here, I've put the second layer of insulation on, which is 25mm on top of the 100mm, I believe. Now, obviously your insulation will completely depend on what you're doing and everything like that. But for me, in this loft conversion, it has been 125mm in the rafters on the ceiling, and then 100mm on just the flat roof and the walls. And then I needed a second layer of this 25mm to go over the top of that. Once that is done, I then have to put the VCL on, which is a vapor control layer, which is basically doing what it says on the tin. But once that is done in this room, it's then ready to be plastered, which is happening in 2 days. So I finished it just in time. Well, I haven't finished this room yet. I'll be doing this in a minute. But yeah, really, really happy with how this room is turning out. As you can see here, I've put in, oh yeah, a window. I haven't shown you that. Put in the window and the windowsill. And I put in all the floors as well. I forgot to mention that. If you don't know about what goes on the floor, basically chipboard, but tongue and groove chipboard, as you can see there. And it is so easy to do. The important thing to remember is where your pipes are. So that's why I always go along with a Sharpie and write pipe, or over here, I'll write, is there an example in here? No, probably not. I'll write wires just to make sure you don't accidentally put a screw through into a pipe, which obviously will create a leak in your house, which is not what you want. And then if you do it into wire, that could be even worse. So yeah, just mark it out and then you won't make that mistake. We've been making really, really good progress. Now, oh yeah, the shower trays are now in. These were 180 quid, which if I lift this up, you can see it a little bit better. That's the shower tray. And I'll put the plug that end. And obviously that is where the taps are going to be going. And you might not actually have seen this before. This is tile backer board. It's basically a waterproof board, which you'll then do your tiling onto. Is there anything that's really important to know about that? Oh yeah, you've got to use the correct screw fittings. And that's about it. You might be wondering why I've left out that section. It's because I've run out of it. And the important bit to get done before the plastering happens is to where the edges are. So then they can plaster straight up to it. Obviously I've marked on where the battens are. That's what those black lines are. That's where you can screw through plasterboard and you're actually going to hit a stud wall behind it. And if you don't know what a stud wall is, it's these bits of wood here. And that's what I've marked. So as you can see when I'm putting the insulation on, that's where I've screwed onto. Now that's why I did all of the tile backer board, is so they can then plasterboard and plaster straight to the edge, which is just the way that I do it. Also, I had a few messages of people wondering why I put the shower tray down first. That's just what I've always done. I put the shower tray down first and then I run along the edge of the shower tray this, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically rubber, which you then line around the shower tray. And that is basically when obviously showering, the water can't then get past that little barrier essentially. And then the tile backer board goes in front of that rubber. So obviously then the moisture can't get through the backer board, the tiles, the mortar, and then it also can't get past that. Is that going to balance? Hopefully. The master bedroom, I'm trying to remember what you last saw in the video. I don't think I'd put the floors down. I don't think I'd finished insulating. I don't think I'd put on the radiator boards, which are these. So obviously this is where the radiator is going to be attached to. And then you can now screw the radiator onto it, because you've got to think, insulated it, the screw's not going to get a fixing, is it? So you need to put OSB board, plywood, whatever behind it, so then the radiator can fix to it. Something that I haven't actually used before is this, which is chrome plated copper, which, considering for the taps and the kitchen, I'm kind of going for a chrome stainless steel finishings. I thought it'd be quite nice to, instead of just having painted pipes coming up into the radiator, I thought it'd be really nice to continue that and use this chrome plated copper pipe, which I think looks really nice. So yeah, that's something new that I haven't used before, that the plumber actually advised on using. So what else haven't I shown you that I've done in the last week? Oh yeah, the doors. These are the Juliet balcony doors. These were £600, I believe. And they've got a really nice handle at the moment. But yeah, both of these are going to open up, which shows the Juliet balcony, which is this. And that was 200 quid, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it's cool to see the roof actually working and that it's all watertight. And obviously the guttering all working properly. Guttering, so easy to put on yourself, honestly. Just do it. And then you can see here the skylights all installed. Now remember, all of this is just random stuff. Ignore that. And that there, I haven't finished doing the soffit and the fascia and the guttering at the moment. So it's what I'd say as being 95% finished. Now obviously that's just me leaving a bit of the fascia there. But yeah, that's mega to see all of that done. I think I should just leave this as the finished door handle, to be honest. It's pretty nice. What else haven't I shown you? Oh yeah, obviously the vapor control air. That's this. This is the membrane I was on about that I've got to do in the pod around the corner. Now, as you can see, again, cables to just make sure not only the plasterers don't put a screw through into any of them, but also for myself, because yeah, I'm guilty of it. Now, obviously, these aren't the finished door linings. I just had to put them in so the plasterers can board up to it. And as you can see, that's why I've done all of the tile backer board in this ensuite, is just so when they're plastering, they can then plasterboard up to the tile backer board, and it's not then me just like infilling, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense in future videos. But yeah, if you want to have a look at this, let me get another light. Oh yeah, there's that skylight as well up there, which I might not have shown you. And when the plasterers arrive, they're not going to be plastering any of the hallway or the staircase. Instead, they're just going to be focusing on the rooms. So this bedroom, the ensuite, and then my bedroom and the ensuite. That's all they're going to be plastering for the time being. So this is obviously where that shelf is going to be going. I need to finish all of that. And then I ran out of tile backer board here, so I just prioritised getting this section finished, and then I can come back and sort all the fiddly bits, which I need to get a new drill cutter blade so I can do the perfect circles around the taps. All the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together, and it starts to calm my brain. And there's still an immense amount to do, but genuinely, this is probably the happiest I've been in a while, because you can really start to see it. So obviously this is where the sink's going to be. That is the waste for the bath, which is going to be freestanding in the middle. I'm going to be putting a tap over there, coming out of the floor into the bath. And then that wire is for an LED strip that's going to run along the back and basically create this really cool glowing effect behind the bath. And then if you're wondering about the tiles, I've got a lot to show you on tiles, because I'm going to show you how to get 60% off your tile order. Yep, 60% off. Not 10% off, 20% off, 60% off. Keep an eye out for that video, because that is where you can just save a fortune, and it's going to look amazing. So I'm planning to tile from left all the way to right into the shower, and then obviously that entire area is going to be tiled. And then I am going to keep the tiling to just the left, to the right, and this area here, I think, because there's just going to be a radiator there, I'm just going to plasterboard and paint there, plasterboard and paint there, because that's where the toilet's going. And then I might tile the back of there, but I'm not too sure at the moment. And yeah, if you want to see, obviously when you're doing the insulating, you've got to remember to bring all your cables down. So that's going to be spotlight 1, 2, 3. That's your extractor fan. This is a shaving point. So obviously I'm going to be doing a full breakdown of the costs of everything at the end of this project. But as I've been doing, I'm mentioning a few of the costs throughout. So as I mentioned, that was 640 quid for the lower part of the stairs, 430 quid for the top straight flight of stairs. We upgraded everything, so it was like a nicer staircase. And I think what we're going to be doing is actually carpeting a lot of it and then painting the rest white. Insulation, this is a big cost, because obviously there's a huge amount. You've obviously got the first layer, which is in varying sizes of 100mm, depending if you're using it on a flat roof, on the eaves. But the total cost for insulation was 3,700 quid, which is horrible. It's a ton of money, and it's something you've just got to pay. Now, we actually ended up saving 1,300 quid on insulation, and that is by doing something that my brother and me often do, which is you get multiple quotes from people, because everyone's got different prices, and then you can end up using people against other people. So an example would be is you call up a particular company, you then bounce that person's quote for that person's. And in this particular situation, Travis Perkins was the best price we got. And this is something that I know a lot of people do, but but I don't know if everyone does it, is you then bounce those quotes off of other Travis Perkins quotes. So for example, one of them was quoting us X price, another Travis Perkins was quoting us Y price. You then go from that Travis Perkins to that one, that one, that one. And yeah, from £5,000, we eventually got it down to 3,700 quid, which is a ton of money. It is. And it's a horrible cost. I mean, that's a Miltech exhaust on an RS6. That is something that I'd much rather spend my money on. Unfortunately though, it's crucial. You got to do it. That is for every piece of insulation, and there's a huge amount of it in the floors, in the walls, in the ceilings, the second layers. That is not a fun cost. 350 quid per skylight, so 4 times 350. If you're wondering how we managed to get them so cheap, I mentioned this in the previous video, eBay. It's the best place to buy skylights for. I don't know anyone who doesn't buy skylights from eBay. What else? Oh yeah, for the kitchen extension, that was £2,000 on EPDM, which is that rubbery plastic basically that covers the flat roof. And that 2,000 includes the metal fascia, the guttering, which was expensive, but I think it will look really nice. And then obviously all the rubber corners, and then there's a ton of glue. It hasn't rained in London for so long, which we've actually been so lucky with, because when we were doing the flat roof, obviously you can't glue when it rains. So we actually had one morning a ton of frost, so I had to go and use a heat gun and heat up the entire roof to get rid of all the ice and water, just using a normal heat gun. So then I could then lay all the EPDM. So if that was a torrential rain, then this week wouldn't have turned out the week that we've had. Has been a huge amount of progress, which is probably why I'm starting to feel a lot happier, because that is the one thing that removes stress, is progress. And if for example, I had just taken a holiday, I wouldn't be feeling like I'm doing now, because yeah, none of this would have got done. What else can I tell you in terms of costs? Flooring, all this tongue and groove chip flooring with the particular screws you need, it came to 1,300 quid. So yeah, a lot of money. I genuinely hate to think how much it would cost to get people in to do what my brother and me did this week. I mean, you've got roofing, the entire side and rear return extension, which is an 8 by 6 meter kitchen. So that's a lot of EPDM, soffit fascia, then building all the upstands for the skylights, putting the skylights in, waterproofing it all. That's an immense amount of work just down there. And then we've started tanking the basement. We've insulated the entire lofts pretty much. I've just got the vapor layer to do in that room. Then you've got all the flooring that is now down, which has got insulation all below it. Then putting the entire staircase in. But not only that, I had to knock through the ceiling and create the landing and then put the stairs in. Yeah, that's a lot of work, and that is a lot of hours that you would have to pay someone else to do. And these aren't normal hours. That is, like I said, like 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. And you might be wondering, how can you work until really late? You just go into silent mode and you don't use any impact drivers, and the neighbours have absolutely no clue. And now that the house is insulated, you've got doors. Oh yeah, I put the doors in and the window. Did I mention how much they were? 600 quid, and then a couple hundred for the window in that bedroom. And then the shower trays, I might have forgotten to mention, they were 180 quid each, pretty much. That one was cheaper because it's a little bit smaller. That shower tray is actually a really big shower tray. So yeah, tons of exciting stuff is happening, and yeah, I'm really excited to show you what this is going to transform into, because yeah, the most insane house I've ever lived in, basically. It's going to be a proper show home, and I really appreciate the comments. Like, not only people who are just giving me support, saying keep going, and just being positive. It really means a lot to me, because it is a difficult thing. Like, I'll just put my camera there and then I'm just talking to myself in a room, and it's a bit weird to get used to just talking to yourself. Like, everyone's got a camera up, try making a YouTube channel. It's not particularly the easiest thing, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. When I started, I really struggled. And yeah, every single comment, it means a lot to me, so thanks for that. And everyone who likes the videos, subscribes, it's helping my channel grow. And I've set the challenge of hitting 10,000 subscribers by 2023. That's my plan, and we're 20% of the way there now, because we're at like 2,050 subscribers. So yeah, that goal's being achieved as well, slowly. But honestly, the last week has just been the most efficient, immense volume of work I think my brother and me have ever done in one stretch of time. You just casually say, oh yeah, I just insulated the lofts. You go and insulate your loft. That's a lot of work in itself. Just doing the flooring. And then obviously it's like where all the radiators come up, you've got to then cut all of that. It's a lot. And when you do your own project, which I'm sure you will, that's probably why you're watching, creating a sense of urgency and a rush. And we probably shouldn't have booked a plasterer in 2 days' time. Just shouldn't have. That's way too quick of a period of time to do everything that we had to do. But it's done now, and we finished doing it 2 days early. And I think that is something like psychological, which if you just create the sense of urgency where you need to get something done, like for us to finish the house by June is crazy. Like that is crazy if you've got a team of builders here. But the difference between a team of builders and my brother and me is it's our house. The longer it stays in a horrible condition, like a building site, the worse off I am, because it's horrible living like this. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video in a bit.